What's up, everyone? It's your boy NordRad89 here, bringing you another video today to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Very important horror franchise to my life. Over the years, I've collected some stuff for Leatherface, and you can see, like I said, I'm a fan, and it's been a big part of my life for many years. So today we're going to talk about my ranking for all 8 films we currently have. So as you can see, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's been a big part of my life for a long time, being a horror fan. Like, this is one of those franchises I introduced a lot of my friends to and all that kind of stuff. So I got like all my respect for Leatherface, and I really do enjoy his franchise. Every time they announce a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, I'm always down on board to check out what's happening. So thanks for coming down to check out this video. And today we're going to be ranking, of course, all 8 films that we have so far, getting ready for the new one that comes out on Netflix pretty soon. I believe it's February 18th, so stay tuned to be on the lookout for that. Now let's get on to this list, and of course this is just my ranking, my personal one. I would love to hear from all of you in the comments section. What is your ranking for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise? So as I said, I really do enjoy this franchise. So there's only like a couple films that I don't really like. The rest I enjoy or I really love. So let's kick this off with the bottom of the barrel for me. The only one that I don't really enjoy, and this is I believe this one came out in 2017. It's called Leatherface, and it's a prequel film, kind of a whodunit story where we meet like a younger cast, and it's a prequel, like I said, showing you how Leatherface kind of became the person who he is. So it's a one that was a good story on paper. If you think about it, it sounds like a really good story. But then overall, just the execution as it went on, and like the actors and actresses in it, I just really wasn't that on board. And they do have some good actors and actresses in this film. I just think, like I said, the execution was wrong. It was miscast. It's just one of those films, like I said, I don't return to that often. Number 7 is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation. And I know this one's kind of gotten a cult following over the years. There are a lot of champions of this film, people who like this film. But for me, this is one that it's not as brutal as some of the other Leatherface films. It's definitely more tamed. And I think even though Matthew McConaughey and Reese Witherspoon are in it, it's just one of those films that it's not as good as the other ones. It isn't. Like, when I watch it, it's just there's so much screaming. I don't really like the Leatherface in this film, and it is a lack of Leatherface. It's much more a Matthew McConaughey film for sure than it is a Leatherface film. So it's not really my jam. Like, I could watch this one and have some fun with it and like it, but it's definitely one, like I said, kind of like Leatherface. I don't return to it that often, but it is significantly better than Leatherface. Like, the gap between 8 and 7 is a pretty big one. 6 is gonna be this film right here, baby. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3. The Saw is Family. This one has Viggo Mortensen in it and a lot of other good side actors. I think Ken Foree is in this movie as well, too. So this one's a pretty good Leatherface film. This is when we're getting into the crux of the good Texas Chainsaw Massacre films for me. This one's good, but it's not great. Like I said, it has a lot of good gore. It's much better than Next Generation, like I said, in terms of story. It takes place mostly during nighttime, so I like that too. And it's just, like I said, it's a good, different, unique story for Leatherface, I think. And if you could kind of connect the first 3, if you pay attention, you could kind of do Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, 2, and this one together and kind of make them like a trilogy thing. But I still think this one is a pretty good film for sure. It's just not a great Leatherface film. There's other better ones for sure on this list. Here we are at number 5, and number 5 for me is going to be Texas Chainsaw 3D. This is the one that really has no idea what time frame it's in or where it is. It's like, it's got a lot of cool stuff in it that I like. Like, we have a lot of returning actors like Bill Moseley, Gunnar Hansen. This one has a lot of returning actors to come from the franchise previously to be in this film. We got Alexandria Daddario as our lead actress in this film, so that's a joy too. So it's one of those films for me as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. This is the dumb fun one. Texas Chainsaw 3D is the one where I could kind of just shut my brain off and just enjoy it because it's dumb fun. It's gory, but it also has a really good Leatherface performance, like that older kind of Leatherface performance. I really do like it in this one, like I said, but it's just a film that if you pay attention to what's going on and you try to dissect the story and really understand what's happening, you're not going to enjoy this film at all. Rolling in at number 4 is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning. This was the prequel film to the 2003 remake, I believe, and this prequel film is is really gory. This is, in my opinion, probably one of the most gruesome and goriest Texas Chainsaw Massacre films for sure. It's got a good vibe to it. This is from 4 on up, these are the great films for me. So 4 and up to 1, these are the great Texas Chainsaw Massacre films for me. And this is a great Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. It's got a good look. Like I said, horrific, gory violence. And I am a fan of like films where like Leatherface or the bad guys usually get everybody at the end. So it's kind of cool that you have that last moment with our heroine chick who's supposed to be our final girl, and she's driving the car and you see the cop there and you're thinking like, oh man, like she's gonna totally get away from this guy, and then like, no, Leatherface pops up and he's in that back seat. So this one, like I said, is a slam dunk. This is probably like hard rock Texas Chainsaw. It's just wild, like, and it does go from 0 to 100 real quick. It's got a fast pace. Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, a slam dunk, badass entry to the franchise. Now we're here at the top 3, and if you haven't yet, consider dropping a like and subscribing so you don't miss a thing, because I got a lot of other videos on the channel you can breeze through and playlists and stuff like that. So let's kick this off with the number 3 spot, and that's going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Oh man, this one's a fun ride. Like, I've seen a lot of people and talked to a lot of people, horror fans, that like this film the best. They think it's so much better than that first Tobe Hooper film, because this one, Tobe Hooper was able to really bring that dark comedy forward and to light, and it was really great. Bill Moseley as Chop Top is probably one of the most iconic horror franchise, people ever. So a lot of people recur to or refer to his character when they're talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Sorry, trying to talk. It's still early in the morning and everything, but yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. This is just a fun ride. I like Stretch, our main final girl actress. I like the fact that we have a Leatherface who's kind of going through puberty, and it really has that new element in it. It really does. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, people talk about like, oh, they just rehash it and there's not really a third one, or they just kind of keep doing remakes and requels and stuff like that. But I think if you really do pay attention, there is something different about all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, but there's also something very similar about all of them, and that's what's great. And this one, like I said, it's similar. We got a crazy family, a final girl, some horrific scenes and gory stuff going on, but we have a Leatherface who's going through, like I said, puberty, and he's likes the final girl, and he's trying to actually help her and get her away from the family and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. There's a lot of interesting stuff about this one, and like I said, it's just a really good, gory, fun ride. Dark comedy. If you like dark comedy, you're definitely going to enjoy Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and you can't even not mention Dennis Hopper. Come on. Like, Dennis Hopper in this movie is probably one of the silliest roles he's ever done, but he commits, and he's a great actor. Coming in at number 2 is going to be the original Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I know it might be a crime to put this one in number 2. A lot of people revere this as the greatest horror film of all times. Even though if it's not their favorite, they revere it as the greatest horror film of all times, and it is such a great film. It really is a raw, realistic experience in filmmaking, and when you watch it, like I said, it almost feels like real. Like, that's what I love about showing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films to my friends when I was growing up and I was getting really into the franchise. When you show them this first film, people are like enthralled and grabbed by it because it's so realistic feeling that, it just feels like you're watching like home video. And this is the film for me, since that beginning film, every time I saw Leatherface, I never viewed him as a villain. I always kind of saw him as somebody innocent or like an anti-hero and all this kind of stuff. Like, I never viewed him as a villain character. Everybody's always trespassing on his property, or they're messing with his family, or they're trying to gentrify his town. So I never feel, like I'm like, oh, I'm terrified of him. Leatherface is a cool character. I love his character. And this film, in that first one, you can definitely tell how Gunnar Hansen played it, that he was going for the kind of innocent, grown man in a really strong man's body, but he doesn't know. He's very young in mind and thinks these people are just trespassing on his property, and he's just defending his land and killing these kids. So it's pretty wild. It's not that gory of a film, but I think the music and the sound design and all that kind of stuff is really what puts you into the film as well. It really puts you there, and you can feel that Texas heat as well when you see the scenes and everything like that. But coming in at number 1, the top dog, there's only one left, and that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, the remake starring Jessica Biel. Oh my God, man, this I have to be honest, was the first film ever in history in theaters that I saw more than once. I actually saw this film 3 times in theaters, and man, it was a blast every time. Like, I went with a different person, and it was a blast every time when I went. Like, this film kicks ass. This, for a long time, when it came out in 2003, probably from 2003 to like 2006, like a good 3 year stretch, this was like my favorite horror film. This was getting so many watches, so many rewatches for sure. Like, it just really was that film that grabbed me. I think it does everything you want from the previous Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, but it elevates it to a new level. I think it's the cinematography and the way this one looks too. I think it's one of the best looking ones. And the cast around Leatherface and the family, I'm really happy with this family because they also got to bring a lot of them back in Texas Chainsaw Massacre the beginning. So I like these 2 films because they really have a good cohesiveness. If you watch the remake in the beginning, they fit together well. The families being the same family members and all that kind of stuff. The Leatherface performance is freaking top notch in this one for real. Jessica Biel, I think, is an amazing final girl. She might not be the best screamer that we've seen in terms of horror girls and stuff like that, but she really is a good final girl to go up against Leatherface. And man, just the brutality, all the stuff that took on in place of this film, I love it. Even the hitchhiker scene with the woman, I like that play out better than the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Nubbins. So there's just everything that this one did, they did what the other ones did, but so much better, and that's why I love it. But still, from 4 on up, like I told you, is all good Texas Chainsaw Massacre films that I love. I really do adore this franchise, and really only the bottom 2 are ones that I won't return to that much. All the other films I return to often, and I can't wait for this new one coming to Netflix on February 18th. I hope you're all excited, and stay tuned to the channel because I'll be dropping a review for that once I check it out and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for sticking around with me all for this ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Have a safe and happy day, everyone. Peace out.